Welcome everyone to Cisco's Virtual Kitchen. We have a great show. I'm just laughing because we're gonna fight today. So all the show's about today is we're just gonna have fights from now on. But we're super excited to have Chef Kyla back from Unilever Foods, UFS. The UFS is like, I want to say, ultimate fighting.
Yeah, that's exactly why we're bringing it up today. And then on the side, we sell mayo and bases and all that sort of fabulous
You
stuff.
sell everything. Not a few things. You guys sell everything. You sell everything. You sell so much stuff.
Yeah, so I mean, Jay, thank you so much for having us here. Well, me, I'm alone right now, but on behalf of UFS, not only the Fight Club, but the company with a lot of solutions and global solutions. I'm really glad that everyone's here today because we're going to do one of our global cuisine segments, and we're going to focus on Spain.
Spain.
Yeah.
Well, I'm going to ask you questions about Spain.
Spain just recently. It is, I believe I'm going to retire in Sevilla. It's one of my most favorite countries in the whole world. And a lot of it has to do with, the culture of it all. Everybody eats food. It's all about.
Take food serious there, Jeff? Do they take food really serious? Like, you don't mess around with it? Like they do in like France and stuff?
I would say no. It's not to say that they don't use it. Is that the seafood base? Because that's intense if you're just smelling that right out.
Yeah, thanks for warning me now. That's starting fighting already.
Fun. But I would say yes, they actually use a lot of French technique as well, which we'll get into when we start during the first segment. But I think it's all about just enjoyment of food and spending time with other people. And that's why we thought it was so important, especially as a lot of our restrictions are lifting, people are getting out there and seeing others. How can we take this type of cuisine and ingredients and apply it to a lot of different operators that are out there so that you can have lots of fun with the customers and have, sharing style plates and really drive different day parts that you otherwise might not be driving right now.
So that's important. Big call out that we want people engaging again in the restaurants and everything. It's experience. Experience economy is coming back.
Yep.
You see it everywhere. So you're gonna cook a couple dishes today, Spanish style.
Yep.
Hey, we gotta talk about this because I just about died of the concentrated seafood.
Yeah, so I'm going to be using this in one of our dishes to easily get a flavor that a lot of other components go into when you're cooking this dish from scratch in Spain. And this is the liquid concentrated base, and it is one of our newer ones, and this is our seafood one, so it's lobster and shrimp. But of course it's concentrated, and Jay just went right into it. No fear, Jay, is what I like to call them. But it does have, when it's diluted with water, it really mimics a from scratch stock. So it's pretty amazing.
It does smell like seafood, just so you know.
I'm not sure if that's a compliment. Well, that smells like something.
It doesn't smell like beef, I'll tell you that. It definitely is. So anyway.
Marketing team, Jay.
Exactly. See how it works with that. Wouldn't that work?
Yeah. Can't take it.
Well, the fight, whoever loses the fight has to take a swig of it.
Okay.
So, swig of it. That's my Saskatchewan accent. Swig of it. Before we get started, I do have a couple things I just want to call out for everyone that's watched or has seen SVK. I have to go through this list of things I've promised to do proper. I'm trying to do things proper now. Proper. That's what you do on a podcast now. You do things proper. So we are the only live daily food show in the industry anywhere on this global planet. Do you know that?
I know.
Global. Do you knew that? But a lot of people probably know.
I'm part of this thing from the beginning.
From the beginning, exactly. You're one of the founders. So we're the only show that's Monday to Friday at 3 p.m. Eastern time. Anywhere you can watch it. You can watch it later tonight at 7 p.m. We'll do a rerun. So you can run and grab your popcorn, go watch the show later tonight. And then on Saturday, I play it on my own channels because nothing's better than watching this Saturday morning as you sit there and sip your coffee. You can watch on demand on Meta, Facebook, Spotify. Do you know that? We're on Spotify. Video, Spotify.
Yeah.
Big deal. And then
with me while I looked for it on Spotify.
Exactly. You can.
Am I adding to this, or should I just be quiet?
If you want to, I don't care. And then you can also, it's on demand. And then the last thing you have to say this because it's with you on podcasts. You have to subscribe and follow SVK on all Cisco Canada social channels because you have to, because then you get notified. You get that annoying beep on your phone that Jay's live again and again and again. We all get it, but that's because we have to be out there and share these amazing ideas like we're going to get from you today. So, on that, we're going to break for a quick commercial, come back, and then you ready to rock it?
I am so ready.
You ready to fight?
I'm ready to fight. Maybe we'll talk about what your entrance music would be for the fight.
Oh, I could find something. Get a little Rocky in here.
Yeah.
A little Rocky. Oh, yeah. Well, okay. We'll be right back after this for the fight, the first round of fighting. Here we go.
In any kitchen, true flavor matters most. It's about bringing real ingredients forward. It's about delivering consistent flavor. It's about being true to your taste. Your professional bases start with real ingredients, balanced to perfection. Adding a layer of depth and richness to every dish you serve. All it takes is one taste compared to the competition to understand the difference true flavor-forward bases can make. That means you can trust every dish you braise, glaze, sear, and finish is truly yours. Only Knorr professional bases deliver true flavor you can taste. Taste for yourself. Request your free sample today.
How weird that was the ad that played. I'm kidding. Not that weird.
There you go. I don't know. We had to see it twice there for a second.
Weird.
It was so good we had to play it twice.
Yes. So ding ding, round one. Like I was saying, I'm really excited to be talking about global cuisines today. So I am located in Toronto in our kitchen. Finally, for those of you that have seen Unilever present on here before, usually you get to see my home. So at least I have a little bit more room, which is lovely.
Yeah, you know what? We don't hear the guys working on your apartment upstairs.
It's true, isn't it? Fire
Guys, we should have had them on the show.
Yeah, it's quite a nice change, if I say so. But the more I talk about it, something's going to go wrong. So, one of the things too, why we're talking about global cuisine as Unilever Food Solutions is the fact that we're a global company. So we have chefs that do what I do in helping operators, working with our distributor partners like Cisco and Jay, to really find solutions that work the best for them. But I'm very lucky because I get to kind of leverage that expertise from around the world. So one of the chefs that I just worked with recently, which is why I was also so inspired on top of the fact that I just had a holiday in Spain, is our chef Peo Cruz. So he is our lead chef in the Spain market for Unilever Food Solutions. And he was really helping me understand a little bit more about the background behind Spanish cuisine, why it's being served, where it's being served, how it's being served, and how much of that actually plays into the everyday life of Spanish people, right? So everybody kind of tends to follow the same sort of culture. So breakfasts tend to be quite small. You'll see maybe some cheeses, some cured meats. Lunches, that's where it's at. That's the bigger thing, where you're going to see people really take their time. Even though that's changing a little bit, they don't take as long of a siesta as we used to remember them taking because everybody's, there's a lot of immigration, people coming from different cultures, different work hours, et cetera, is all influencing that as well. But typically lunch is the biggest meal, and then dinner a little bit smaller. Again, it's all about socializing, and that's why it's so perfect for us to be talking about Spanish cuisine right now, because of us all getting back out there. I mean, I know we're so eager to see everybody again, share things over a meal. That's the best way. I mean, that's my form of entertainment. I don't know about you, Jay.
It is mine too. It is mine too.
I'm way past the days of nightclubs, et cetera, et cetera. I'd rather just go to a really nice meal. Yeah, well, I mean,
You passed the nightclub days?
I know it's surprising. Oh, you just brought me back into it.
Exactly.
So the other thing that's interesting to know too is that there is a lot of variation, within Spain, as you would imagine. There are some countries that have a very atypical climate, consistent throughout, but Spain, again, a lot of variety. If you remember, the rain in Spain falls mainly in the plains, but of course that affects food production, right? So you look at the northern region and you look at where you're kind of getting connected with France, and that would be the Basque region. A lot of really, really high quality fresh produce. So that is a lot of what the cooking is really based on, is having high quality fresh ingredients, typically keeping it quite simple. And then when you get down towards the south, it really is about curing more of that food, because you're not going to get that same type of produce that you get in the north. And that's where you start seeing things like Iberico Hamel. And I'll explain that a little bit more because I'm going to be using a Hamel.
You're throwing some big words out there.
I know, it makes me feel, also the glasses. Makes me
I
feel
love the glasses. You got to keep those. Those are working.
keep them on.
Those are your fighting glasses.
So, like we said, variety of region, and a lot of influence from the surrounding countries. And that's one of the most beautiful things about European culture, is that you have all these countries that are so close together or surround the borders, and you're going to get influence from them. So for Spain, it's typically France, Italy, and North Africa.
Wow.
So, yeah, and it's interesting that you were saying too, are they as regimented as kind of the classical French cuisine style of cooking? And actually, there is a lot of classical sauces that we know from French cuisine that come into the Spanish cooking. So one of them, actually, I'm going to take you through some dishes that I'm not going to prepare, but we'll show you an image so that you can kind of get an idea of what they look like. And the first one that we have here directly derives from that very French style sauce. So Jay, if you could pull that first one up for me.
Okay, so we're going to go to the first video. Or
No.
slide or video? Slide?
Photo, yeah.
Photo, okay.
First image. This is so much fun. Nope, yes.
There you go.
Remember, guys, Jay's controlling this, not me.
No. It's the editing crew. It's the programmer.
So again, having meat and especially pork being very, very popular in general within Spanish cuisine. I actually went to a fantastic restaurant when I was last in Sevilla, and it was essentially an all pork restaurant. And I didn't know that going into it, but I had no problems with it once I was there. And it was how to utilize the entire pig, right? So getting that cheek, getting the belly, getting even the ears, and incorporating it in different ways. And
the ears too?
Absolutely. Everything. Waste not, want not, my friend. And this dish here, although it does have some tomato in it, leverages a lot of kind of that richer, like demi-glace style base that you see from French cuisine. And so we'll see this time and time again when going to different restaurants in Spain. One of the next ones that we have here, I absolutely love, and is very common in the Basque region, are something called pincho. So Jay, that's our next image. So pincho here.
You can be you look like you're on TV, like a news reporter now.
And today on thank you. Camera 1, camera 2. So our pinchos here, and you heard me right, pinchos. You can either Pinchos or the really fun Pintxo. So that's some really fun Spanish pronunciation. But typically what this is either a 1 or 2 bite item, or something that's served on bread that's 1 or 2 bites, or with a small pick. And where the word pincho actually means spike in Spanish, so there you go. This is what you'll often see kind of on the go. You can just grab a few bites, maybe grab a beer, glass of wine. Again, it's all about kind of that grazing style of eating. You can get a lot of variety. And it's also what we're seeing a lot in Spain right now, actually, is a lot of the same sort of global influence cuisines that we're seeing here. So although they get that original influence from those surrounding countries, we're seeing a lot of trending, Asian cuisine, so pinchos that are on bao buns instead of
Yeah.
bread. So it's really cool to see where this
So
is
what
going.
kind of bread would that be, chef, on there?
So
Like a
that,
bocage?
yeah, this just kind of looks either like la focaccia or just even like a little piece of toast where the crusts have been
Okay.
removed. It's really just kind of a base because there's typically some sort of like grilled meat or something and
Mhm.
sauce. There's also breakfast pinchos.
Are they like sauce like us in Canada where we put sauce on everything?
There's a lot of sauce in the main dishes, and again, that goes back to the classical French sauces.
Yeah.
When it comes to pinchos, or you may have heard of tapas. So tapas is smaller portions of bigger meals. So instead of intending to be a 1 or 2 bite thing, that's kind of like portable to go, tapas is where you would have maybe it's tortilla espagnole, actually, which is our next one. So if we want to move ahead, you can actually get small pieces of this, if you just go for a glass of wine at a bar, and they'll have this served at room temperature. So tortilla espagnole is my absolute most favorite thing to
So,
have.
so tell us about this because this looks really good. Like, give us the detail. First of all, what's it smell like right now?
So tortilla espagnole, or called Spanish omelet, is egg,
It's an
potato.
omelet?
Yeah, well, it's egg, potato, and onion. And so instead of, I know it's quite high, and that's not just egg, though. That is the potato giving it density. So it's
Yeah.
either diced pieces of potato or slice. So many different people make it differently. There's also some people that try to aim for a really, really high tortilla because it comes out quite round like this.
Mhm.
You cook it in a pan as it rises up with some of that egg and potato. And then you very carefully, I was told you got to make about 300 of them before you can do it right.
Really?
But you flip it and then cook the other side back in the pan. Now, again, not intended to be served warm, just kept at room temperature. So
That's
you walk to a
beautiful.
bar, you usually just see one sitting up there. They cut you off a slice, sometimes drizzle a little bit of really high quality olive oil, which of course is very important in Spanish cuisine. Or one of my most favorite places that I go to get it, a big dollop of aioli on the side.
Mm.
So that's the difference between the pincho and the tapas. And that's where I feel like we can also leverage a lot within our market right here in Canada, right? Is maybe taking on that between lunch and dinner day part or the late night snacking day part where traditionally we might not have a lot of traffic. And it may also ease up some of the demand on labor if you have a lot of that overlap between dishes. So again, if tapas is in fact just smaller portions of what you're already serving on your dinner menu, why not take advantage and get customers coming in at a different time, kind of relieve some of that tension. And this is why, it's perfect, I think, right now as we're starting to open up things again. And we know that, we're lacking labor. And a lot of these are very, very simple things to make. So the next
Very
one,
cool, though.
I think everybody knows the last one that I'm going to show you here, but paella. It would not be a Spanish webinar, show, whatever we want to call it, without paella. So there's a little bit of disagreement, I guess, within Spain, but Valencia is apparently where traditionally paella was from, which also gives it very particular ingredients. So depending on where you are, you'll have different ingredients that are more prevalent in a paella. So in this one, it is bamba rice is kind of common, and it's a little very round grain of rice. And then we have our green beans, our rabbit, chicken, sometimes duck, and then it's cooked in chicken broth. And of course, the main components of this that really make it is something that you start off with called a sofrito. And sofrito is so important in Spanish cooking. And so
Sofrito.
sofrito. That's a horrible.
Got it right. You see how I got that right.
Onion, garlic, and bell pepper. And then often people will add saffron, but when I was talking to my colleague the other day, fear not, saffron is not a make or break for paella. even when you're in Spain and you're making it traditionally, not everyone uses saffron because, of course, we know saffron's very expensive.
So what's the alternative, chef?
So other ways to do this, adding extra carrot to
Ooh.
give it that nice golden color. Absolutely, it's really going to be about adding more of those natural ingredients that give that color, but not adding anything like turmeric. That was actually a question I had. I was like, silly question. And he's like, yeah, that is silly. No, he's nicer.
I was gonna go there. I was gonna say that.
Turmeric has a very particular flavor profile.
I
So
was gonna say it ruins it.
about it, yeah, it started making a little bit more sense to me. Carrot seems to be one of the more common kind of fixes to really lend that saffron color to the paella. So yeah, these are kind of like the base dishes that you can see that are very common. You'll see them all throughout Spain, but with a lot of different variations to them. Now, what I want to do as this first dish here is show you something that maybe is a lot more recognizable, but we're definitely taking a lot of the flavors that we talked about, and we're going to be making something different. So I'm actually going to make a pizza. Again, you can say, sure, there's a lot of Italian influence, and there are quite a few pizza places that I saw when I was last in Seville. Jay, you can take down the picture if you want, so that people can yeah, you can take down the picture so people can see what I'm doing a little bit more.
I know, but it looks so cool.
I got it. Well, my food will look more appetizing. I'm just saying.
Okay.
So, you know, again, quite a few pizza chains and flatbreads that I saw when I was out there. Again, that Italian influence. So this would not be completely uncommon. What I want to do, though, is utilize a lot of the same ingredients and very common ingredients that we have, but still give that influence of that Spanish cuisine. So one of the things that I'm going to do is, as a base, I'm going to use the Knorr Just Add Water Alfredo mix. So this is a dry mix. You heard me say it, just add water. And in no time, it's, oh, look, see, no time. Look how quick that was. Yeah. So I'm going to be using this as a white sauce and base for the pizza, which is, of course, lovely because it's got a little bit of pepper in there. It's got Parmesan notes. I've got some garlic, so everything that's going to complement the flavors. And of course, you know, everybody likes to have a good Alfredo. There's so many different applications for it. So beyond, you know, having it as a pizza-based sauce, of course our pastas, of course the proteins. I mean, there's so many different things. I'm going to do a variation of mac and cheese with it tomorrow. So again, just making sure that we get the most of everything and not paying really, really high dairy costs right now. And of course, making it as simple as possible for your staff back at the house to make a really delicious, versatile sauce. So the next thing I'm going to do, and this is why I should never work in a pizza shop because I am aggressive when it comes to the amount of cheese that I do. I know. I'll make one and it's like, yeah, that's a $20 pizza. That's a $30 pizza, what have you. So I'm going to go a little light right now because I'm going to do some layers. This is just a little bit of mozzarella, but what I'm going to add to it actually is some manchego. So if you haven't had manchego.
A what? A what?
Manchego. So Manchego.
Oh, then, and you know how to spell it, so that's a winner.
So this is a type of cheese, and it is a semi-firm cheese. It's got like, it's a little bit peaky. It feels a little bit aged, somewhere that's heading in the direction of a Parmesan, but a little bit younger, if that makes sense. It doesn't sound like.
I love how you explain cheese, chef.
Okay, I'm being recorded. I'm going to have to not have to.
On many devices, by the way.
So I'm going to actually grate some of this.
Is it a hard cheese? Is it super hard, or is it kind of like a?
It's semi-firm.
Okay.
Also doesn't sound great. But again, this is something that you could see even like a very easy pincho could be diced manchego with a piece of chorizo on top.
Oh, really?
Right? Like, that's the thing that's amazing. It can be super simple, but as long as the ingredients are good, I mean, we know this, right? The other thing I'm going to do here before I build it up too much is I'm actually going to add a little bit of lemon zest. So I want that brightness to come through. And I'm doing it now, even before it gets baked. And then I'm going to do some roasted red peppers. So again,
Roasted red
roasting lots of
peppers.
things, lots of cured meats, just making sure that we really get that influence of it. First, that nice color. So you can see too, like this would be also a great thing to share. So, and hopefully also driving up your bar tabs, your drink box. I'm not making anything for that. The next thing I'm going to do here is add, it's serrano jamon. So jamon, so the Spanish way to say ham. It is pork. There's typically two different types. The most common you'll see, especially here in Canada, is serrano jamon. It is really lovely marbled, kind of close to like a prosciutto sort of meat. Again, you can just go into a tapas bar and they'll give you like a plate just like with just meat slices all over it, and like that's part of.
Can we get a close up of that, Chef?
There you go. Okay. As far as I can go, my arms aren't that long, but you can see that it's really marbled. It's a little bit darker than you would see a prosciutto be.
Yeah, you know what? I had pizza the other day in Toronto.
Yeah.
And it was I don't even know what I ordered because I couldn't understand anything on the menu because it was all beautiful like languages except it was all but it was and I love the fact that when you dine out and you go to places you don't even know about and you just say, let's go here, it looks cool, and you go in and you have the most killer pizza ever. It was incredible.
I'll ask you later where you went.
I probably could not remember what the name was. Like,
okay,
find out. It was incredible. I just loved. I love this kind of pizza. I love it.
I wanted to say too, Joe, though, just on the jamon, is that Iberico jamon is like the end all be all. And that Iberico near the Iberian Peninsula, that's where they grow these pigs that actually feed just on acorns. You can buy an entire leg, like you'd see a prosciutto cured pig leg, for about €3,000.
That sounds cheap.
But it is literally melt in your mouth. Excuse me.
Really?
Super marbled. Fantastic. I contemplated, bear with me, bringing one home, but I thought it was a bad idea.
There you go.
Live TV.
On live TV. I can break for a commercial, Chef.
Well, actually, that would be great because I'm going to put this in the oven and then we'll move on after the commercial.
So let's do that. Do you want to do like the commercial out?
Roll it.
This is the fair. Do you want to tee us up for the Fair Kitchens commercial?
Oh, yes. This is a very important movement that we're working on, and I wanted to make sure that everybody kind of got a little snapshot of what it is. So I'm sure you may have seen this before, but here's a little bit about Fair Kitchens, the movement that's brought to you by Unilever.
There you go. We'll be right back.
The issue for chefs is that they've had the role that defines them just pulled from under them like a rope, and I think there's been a real sense of almost grief and loss.
The financial constraints have got much harder, but I think that it doesn't cost anything to be kind.
So I think that we have to use this opportunity to take it as a time to change for the better.
Fair Kitchens is a movement, one that has been created to fight for a more resilient and sustainable industry. It puts the well-being and development of its people at the heart of everything it does.
I want people to come to work and be happy. Really, that's the secret, I think, about why customers like it. Someone says the buzz and the atmosphere, and really, we're nice to staff, and as a result, staff create this lovely atmosphere for customers to come into.
Oh, boom.
Yeah,
Just
well,
like that.
for those of you that are interested more about the movement, you can go to fairkitchens.com. You can also follow us on LinkedIn and Instagram at We Are Fair Kitchens. There's a lot of really good stuff that's going on. And it's just we're trying to do and help as many people as possible. And everything is free, online, and available around the world. And I know Jay is a big supporter as well as Cisco Canada. So we're very appreciative anytime we get to talk about it.
Oh, yeah. We can play it over and over again after Fight Club. After
Fight Club. No, we're not allowed to talk about Fight Club.
exactly.
So I'm really excited about the next dish that we're going to make here.
Okay, so what are we getting into here? What is this? Sorry.
What we're going to do here is a little bit of a take off of that paella that we talked about, right?
Okay.
So a lot of the different regions, especially when you start looking at Barcelona, is that you see a lot of seafood added to it. So I kind of wanted to play off that a little bit, but I wanted to do something that might be a little bit easier because paella is definitely time consuming as well. I know if any of you are watching out here, I know there's some fabulous Spanish restaurants right here in Toronto and across Canada. But we also know that paellas can be time consuming, often with kind of a 45-minute heads up, which we do not all have, especially if that's not our specialty. So if we're looking to do something that's kind of either a grab and go, something that can be added to an FSR menu where, we're really driving maybe more of that lunch crowd, but something that feels very satisfying, very flavorful. And I think this is something that we're going to start seeing a lot more of. So as a base to this particular bowl, I wanted to do a mixture of grains. So of course, our ever popular quinoa that we have here, as well as some brown rice. And both of them I actually cooked with the seafood.
Okay. Whoa, wait a second. Did you boil that pasta with that stuff in the water?
Well, I mean, I used this as a stock.
Okay.
And cooked the rice.
Yeah, that's cool. So you didn't drink from the bottle.
Even though this is brown rice, I don't know if you can see if it's perceptible from there, but it does have a little bit more of like an orangey tinge to it.
Is that from that sauce?
That's from the base itself. So there's
what?
There's a little bit of tomato in there, in addition to the lobster and the shrimp, which gives it that color that you're looking for when you see a shellfish.
It's the third ingredient, chef.
Yeah, so it's honestly, it brings so much aroma, as you know, but when it's diluted like that and when it's cooked off here, it almost has a little bit of that sweetness that you expect from seafood, like almost when you would get it from a bisque sort of idea. So this, I think, is going to really help us nail down that flavor that people expect from a seafood paella perspective without putting in a lot of that work. So I'm going to mix these two different grains here.
Hey, chef, how would you, so if I didn't have the Knorr concentrate, seafood concentrate here, how would I do this? How would I do this? I don't know. Like, I'm lost here.
So, I mean, you could also, use a variety of different seafood bases. If you were going to do this from scratch with a prepared base, it would really be about, typically you would still use, you could use a chicken broth. And then when you sear off, so usually you would have some prawns that are in there. Sometimes you have some calamari, squid. That's what's going to add a lot of that flavor, that fish, because that will all get cooked in the thin layer of rice and really spread a lot of that flavor.
Wow.
Now, why I'm recommending the seafood base is because we're not giving it this time to all cook together, right? And we're not putting a lot of expensive seafood in it. I'm just going to put some shrimp in here. It got cooked separately. So again, utilizing what we already have on hand, with a really, really simple product. But again, don't need to go the seafood right at all. Could do a chicken base and then build up on that.
So what's it? So that the quinoa and when you have the pasta, does it have that little bit of a smell? Sorry, brown rice is does it have a little bit like you smell like seafood right now in the air?
Not in the air. But
yeah.
I get a too, and I get a little bit. I mean, it's cold now, but I get a little bit
but a little bit there, right?
off it. I'll get more flavor off it. There's also, it's not high in sodium, but enough that it gives depth to the grains at the base of the bowl. Because I think one of the
No,
most
it's not.
things when
You're
you're
right.
cutting a bowl, right, is you get to the bottom and there's no flavor. And that,
Yeah.
why am I eating the rest of this bowl if it's just plain, boring rice? I'm just saying.
So honestly, like every chef should have this in their kitchen. Then, like
especially, I mean, I'm biased when it comes to liquid bases in general, because of the versatility of them. I mean, we also saw it in our commercial there. But of course, diluting it to make a stock great. But I also use a lot of their concentrated form. And actually, one of the better things that I've done with this too is added some of this into a pan as is with some butter and a little bit of sriracha if you can find it. And sauteed shrimp or other seafood in that. And it just really brings out the flavor of that shrimp. It gives it a really nice glaze to it. It kind of also, I think, helps along if it's maybe slightly lesser quality or not what you were expecting when you got your seafood. Is it just really helps elevate those flavors without being kind of that seafoody.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm always impressed. I'm always impressed with these products. I'm blown away always.
Yeah, it's the versatility of the format that really blows my mind. So I do use these at home. This is not, I mean, and not just because we were doing SVK from my kitchen. I use them anyway. So
We had a lot. We made a lot of lunches together.
we did make a lot of lunches. Our neighbors during that time. So I'm actually going to use the sun-dried tomato vinaigrette that is part of our Hellmann's portfolio.
Go grab the jug. Go grab the jug.
Well, it looks like this. I don't have this actually in the fridge right now, but these are
that one?
kind of your standard issue, 3.89 liter. They're all shelf stable. But the nice thing about the way that the Hellmann's vinaigrettes are prepared, the emulsification process that it goes through when they're prepared actually helps them withstand some heat as well. So again, if you wanted to throw some of this in a saute pan and toss off some of the chicken or the shrimp or what have you and add that flavor after the fact, totally easy to do without it splitting. So this is the sun-dried tomato vinaigrette.
Sun-dried tomato.
Now I'm getting it stuck in the, so I'll just do that. You know, when you get that really nice particulate, but you got to cut the mouth wider.
I know exactly. We've all done it.
And of course, I didn't check before we started, so I'm not going to make you watch me do that. So I'm going to get this a nice little mix together. So I've got my seafood, rice, and quinoa, a little bit of sun-dried tomato vinaigrette on top of that. So now, I mean, you could eat this just like this without all the other things on it, but we are in fact going to build a bowl. So this will be the base. There we go. This is a pretty big bowl. That's okay. So we've got that. I've got my other ingredients lined up here that is going to paella this up. So I have some green spring peas. So that's sometimes something that you'll find within paellas. We'll throw some green peas in there. Again, nice to give it that color. And by the time it's cooked, you get like that little bite to it when you bite into the meat. You know what I'm talking about.
Oh, I know. I got to start cooking on this side of the show.
Or if you live closer.
Exactly. Exactly.
I just roasted off some cherry tomatoes, so just threw them in the oven with a little bit of olive oil. And as you can see, again, it's about keeping things simple.
So how long do you roast those tomatoes for, Chef?
15 minutes at 350.
Okay. Cool.
And then what we have here is our shrimp and our chicken. So with this, I actually just did a little bit of olive oil with salt and pepper, as well as some smoked paprika, which is a very popular flavor, a spice that's used in Spain. And although not a lot of spices are used because they rely on the natural ingredients, things like smoked paprika, oregano, rosemary are some of the more common spices and herbs that are used. So we've got our chicken there. So you can see we've got a pretty nice full bowl. And then I'm just gonna throw some greens on top. I don't need a lot. This is not really about being a salad bowl, but more of a grain bowl. Then the piece de resistance, Hellmann's spicy mayonnaise. So again,
Oh man, is this like a chipotle or is it spicy mayo? Let's
this
see.
is spicy. So this is red jalapenos and cayenne. It's got that amazing texture that you expect from Hellmann's mayonnaise. This also can withstand some of that heat. So like if you're gonna do, I don't know, bam bam shrimp or something, take something out of the fryer, you can toss some of this on it and you're not gonna have a splitting problem. You may recall at the beginning of us doing this together, Jay, that I had one of these at home. Oh, there's pizza. And it's obviously gone. So I'm gonna put some spicy mayo on top because I am a 2-sauce girl when it comes to a bowl. And that is our bowl.
Oh, done.
There's so much stuff in there.
Oh man.
Our chicken and our shrimp and our peas and our roasted tomatoes and our, roasted red peppers and then that nice seafoody base. And let me just grab this pizza real quick and hopefully that one's done. Oh, beautiful. Sorry, you just get to hear it all without actually seeing it.
What?
I said you get to hear all the noise without actually seeing it.
Yeah.
All right. So we've got our lovely pizza here that you might be able to see.
Oh, just wait a second.
There we go.
Peter had a comment there. He said, the product saves so much labor. It's a perfect product.
Oh, thank you, Peter. That was allowed to block the pizza.
Yes.
But as you can see, it browned up really nicely. This is a very thin crust pizza, but perfect for sharing, whether it's late night snacks or as part of a meal or that in-between hour where we want to drive more traffic. So just a couple of different options that are very approachable for a variety of different demographic of customers. But I still think really capture a lot of the flavors and the essence of what we were talking about when we talk about Spanish cuisine. If you've not been to Spain and you have the opportunity, absolutely, please go. Try some of those pinchos and tapas and the plates of cured meat. They're delicious. But if you don't have an opportunity to do that, I did want to remind you that you can either go to unileverfoodsolutions.ca for more recipes, more trends, more insights.
One of the best websites out there. One of the best. Just throwing it out there.
And you can also go there to use our UFS Academy, which of course is absolutely free online training when it comes to a variety of different trends and insights. And actually, we're going to show you a little teaser right now so you can see the Spanish one that's available.
All right, here we go, right?
Yep.
I'm going to be cooking a couple of nice little dishes today. Just love the way that in Spain and Italy as well, it's all about social eating and kind of sharing and just little plates, little tastes. And most chefs are quite greedy, so we quite like to eat as much as we can. So that tapas element allows you to kind of have pretty much most of the menu.
Do you have one of those academies for everything?
Pretty much. I think it's we've got something about 200 and some odd.
Just 200.
So, yeah, so I mean, it really ranges, right? It's like how to cook the perfect steak to plant-based or food photography. So really, check it out. And a lot of the content's brought from our global chef team. It's the ones that I'm very lucky to work with and learn some really fabulous insights from. So I'm so happy that Jay, you had us today on I guess it's the Unilever show, but on your channel. And I know we have some more that are going to be coming up in the new year, and we're definitely talking about doing more globally inspired sessions. So I'd love to hear from you guys what you want to see.
Yeah, let us know. And Chef Kyla, it's always been you've been with us from the beginning. I was saying earlier that I think our first show was you. 300 and some shows later, we have
Possibly.
you back. Like I think we've done like I don't know how many shows. It's like 300. I think we're over 300 now. And I want to thank you for all your support and everything you're doing, not only for Unilever and for Cisco and the relationship that we have, but for the industry. You always rock it. So thank you so much for what you do.
Well,
And everyone else, you got to check out UFS. I'm trying not to say UFC. UFS is website because you guys do have one of the best websites out there. And I love the fact that Unilever actually cares so much that they want to help people not only with fair kitchens but with the academy. You don't see that from a lot of companies out there, so it says a lot about who you guys are. So thank you for that,
I love working
and I'm blown away by it. So thank you so much. And before we wrap up, please follow us on SVK on all Cisco Canada social channels, wherever you can find us. If you haven't seen a show yet, surprise, there's 300 some show on demand. If you go to a YouTube channel, or if you have Spotify, you can watch them on Spotify and listen to it as a podcast as you drive home or drive to your next restaurant. But other than that, Chef, thank you so much for being on the show today. To everyone else, we are back tomorrow, Friday, last show. We have Scott Moore on from Stir Communications. We're going to talk restaurant marketing. What you need to do. It's changed a lot the last couple of years, apparently. So Scott's on the show tomorrow, restaurant marketing, and then 2 Influencer Fridays tomorrow. Dr. Oker and Campbell's is on the block. Good, great, or wow. We rate everything. So the chefs are getting ready for that for tomorrow, and they don't get to taste it before the show. Did you know that, Chef?
Well, I've been involved in a couple of them.
Okay.
Maybe that's
Well,
some wows from Ellie. I'm just saying.
I know. No cheating. Chef Hoyen cheated the other day. So, but anyways, Chef Ellie does not cheat. So we have good, great, or well rating. That's on tomorrow. 2 shows tomorrow, and then we're back next week with Chef Dan and Chef Peter on Monday. So, anyways, thanks so much. Take care. Get out there and go to Spain.
Go to
And
Spain, guys. Just go to Spain.
just go to Spain. Yeah, go to Spain. Start a fight club, and we're good.
Thank you, everyone.
Awesome. Thank you, everyone. See you later. Cheers.